Hey, namaste everyone, Ram here, your DNA hacker. I'm back for another video. I took a little break, a long break. I was working on DNA Hacker Secrets book. I'm putting the final touches on that. I've also been building the DNA Hacker Secrets Mastermind, which is really 2 decades in the making. It's an elite mastermind. It's coming soon, and I'll be making an announcement about that. And I'll talk about some of the modules or components that are going to be in this. I will be really giving it away. This is a very extensive mastermind, and because of what's going on in the environment with the coronavirus and the worry that people have about their health, I want to really make this accessible to anybody. And since we can't really go anywhere, what better way to have a course online, comprehensive, that is going to teach you step by step how to live stress and disease-free, at the bare minimum, more resistant to that. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. So I wanted to do a multi-part video series on coronavirus prevention. Remember, it's not that I'm teaching how to be disease-free, and it's not that I cannot get inoculated. Inoculated means that something goes in me, lands, and starts to fester. But what I can do is make it so that I am almost asymptomatic, if not asymptomatic. I can have my body be primed so that no matter what goes within it, my immune system and my body is ready to react to actually put a stranglehold on whatever is inside me. And I've tested this, and I've seen the progression from getting sick for weeks at a time to progressively shorter to eventually getting sick but bypassing that very serious phase where you're feeling really bad, to feeling like you're getting sick, but it's just some little very mild. You feel like something's in there and your body's fighting it and keeping it under control until eventually you don't get sick at all. You bypass it altogether. It's like you raise your vibration above where disease lies. People have this wrong concept that disease is something outside of them. And if you continue to think that disease is outside of you, you will forever be vulnerable to it. You must first create the right tempo, extirpate disease from within. Sorry, there was a helicopter going by. I was saying you must first extirpate that from within. You create the right foundation. And so I'm going to start off with something that's a very hot topic right now and teach you about what is responsible for about 80 to 90% of your immune system. So part 1 is going to be on boosting the heart of your immune system. And later videos, I'm going to go and share. I've released some of this already on Art of Stress-Free Living. You can get a copy of the book below. In the Art of Stress-Free Living, I have a section on body stress, on health, when it comes to the body, and I share a number of secrets with regards to health. I'll be sharing some of those in a future video so that you can find sources of youth and wellness in your diet, in supplementation, etc. I've already shared extensively on this channel how to become a master of stress. And in DNA Hacker Secrets, I go into full details about that. Of course, the Art of Stress-Free Living to me is the Bible of living stress-free. There is no other book out there that really comes close to giving you the resources. And I've had people reach out to me on social media and saying how that book really changed their lives, and they go about their life completely different, very differently than they used to. And that could be you as well. I'll be talking about immune boosting techniques. I'll be sharing a few immune boosting techniques, very simple techniques, breathing techniques, for example, meditation techniques that are known to enhance your natural killer cells. And I'll describe why you want to boost that type of cell, and I'll relate it to coronavirus in a future video so that you really understand how your immune system can actually keep that virus in check so that it doesn't keep spreading and festering to more and more cells and really doing away with your respiratory system. And some of these techniques also boost your sex drive, your energy, your power, your confidence. So in the mastermind, I go into details about that. You should not age and start to decline over time. You should peak and peak and peak. I'm already nearing 44 years old, and if I compare myself now to when I was in my 20s, it's just very different. I thought I was in my peak in my 20s, but in reality, I just keep going up. I'm not sure where that peak is going to be, if you can keep sustaining it, but as of right now, it's an upward trend, and at the bare minimum, you can plateau. There's no reason you should be having ups and downs. There is something that you're doing wrong that is making you on a day-to-day basis, on a year-to-year basis, having highs and lows. And I talk about, and I've done videos on this before, on natural cycles for health. How do you remain in sync with natural rhythms so that you are not affected by seasons, by weather, by where you live? And you can actually be in sync with nature in a more holistic way. Your health is dependent on the environment. I don't think anybody out there is really teaching this concept. I devote 2 chapters to the relationship between nature and your health, and this concept of eco-wellness. Ethically speaking, if you resonate perfectly with nature, which humanity doesn't, we have done away with nature, and it's one of the reasons why we're having a number of problems, not just environmentally, but it's trickling into mental and physical health and our spiritual health. And this is something that I talk about and I teach. Is at the heart of a lot of what I teach. And there's a lot more to come in this mastermind, and you want to stay tuned. There's going to be online yoga and meditation courses, meditation taught in the way that I think is not being taught right now, because the majority of people do not know what meditation is, and they're teaching some sort of form of stress reduction and not really what meditation is, which can actually free you. And it can help you to reconnect with the inner programs that you are not connected to. All right, so let's talk about the first part that I wanted to talk about, which is what is 80 to 90% of your immune system. And it is the microbiome. So you are covered with bacteria, fungi, viruses, a number of different microorganisms that coat your skin, your nasal passages, and your entire digestive tract. The entire outside of your body, and when you talk about percentages, the majority of your body, you could say, is made up of cells that you consider to be foreign. The society that we have nowadays has caused us to be lacking in a number of microorganisms. The rise in C-sections. Babies are not going through the vaginal tract and being exposed to natural flora that babies need to be in contact with. Their nose, their eyes, their mouth, their skin, as they go through the vaginal tract, exposes them to microorganisms that they need. Breastfeeding. People switching too much towards breast milk. Bringing down the exposure that the baby has, not just to immunoglobulins, but also immune proteins, antibodies, but also to microorganisms that are important. And so the food we eat is highly refined and processed and dead and devoid of the natural things that we need. So we're going to talk about how actually you take care of this immune system. What are the things that harm your immune system? It seems, I think it's got to get the brightness. All right. So the first thing is antibiotics. First of all, when it comes to the coronavirus, a virus has nothing to do with an antibiotic. Unless you go to the doctor and there are secondary infections that relate to bacteria, let's say you develop pneumonia, then taking an antibiotic would make sense. If I'm taking my antibiotic, let's say I'm a younger person, I have acne, I'm taking antibiotic, or I'm taking antibiotic for another reason, doctor prescribed only, then what can I do to actually, because remember, an antibiotic is not just harming the pathogen, it will be harming your natural bacteria as well, your microorganisms that are going to be in contact with the antibiotic. And so what can I do? Pro and prebiotics. So probiotics, you would want them to be non-dairy. And we'll get to non-dairy later on, because animal products, actually animal-based foods, meats and things of that nature, dairy actually harm your natural flora. What does your natural flora benefit from? From prebiotic foods, plant-based foods. This is why I stress, I've been stressing this since The Art of Stress-Free Living, in the Hacker Secrets book, in the Mastermind, at least 50 to 75% of your diet must be raw, whole, plant-based foods. And of course, because pesticides and herbicides damage the natural flora, you want to increase your intake of organic foods. I will be including, likely in the appendix section of DNA Hacker Secrets, some foods that you want to be eating organic. So there's certain things you definitely must be eating organic, and certain things that must be eaten non-GMO, corn being one of them. And so prebiotics. Why prebiotics? Because plant-based foods give your natural flora, especially the gut bacteria, their nutrition source. Fiber, which is not nutrition for you, but indirectly it is, because the bacteria will feed off it. They thrive. They generate secondary compounds, including B12, which then, because our natural flora is so deficient, we then have to supplement for. And if you're interested in how to supplement B12 in a vegan way, in a natural way, healthy way, without having to take supplements like tablets and things of that nature, which sometimes over and mega dose you, put a comment below and I'll let you know, or reach out to me at DNAHackerSecrets.com or theartofstressfreeliving.com. I'll put some links below. Since I haven't posted some videos, I really have to kind of update things. All right. So the problem with probiotics, a lot of people are, in the craze of like kombucha, things of that nature, kimchi, some of these fermented foods. There's a great book called The Art of Fermentation that goes into details on a lot of different fermented foods. So the problem with probiotics is that, yes, they contain some of this natural flora, but they don't always contain the ones that you want. In a video series I did previously, and I talked about mindful eating, I discussed how to eat an apple. And oftentimes we eat the skin, maybe some people even peel it. They'll eat the flesh, and then they will discard the core. The core has about 90% of the microbiome that you want to be putting into your body. So remember, things that come from the earth, and I go into more details about this in the Hacker Secrets, are going to contain a lot of the microorganisms. I'm living in a very sterilized world, or in a world that has microorganisms that are not the ones that I want. If I live in the city, let's say, for example, I'm not in contact with nature, with the soil. And so I need to start to bring myself into contact with the substrate that contains these microorganisms. Food can be a great one. So prebiotics is something that you want. If I keep my microflora healthy, when something lands, I will already have the living organisms ready to counteract that. And of course, I will be sharing later on an immune boosting techniques where you will boost a cell that will attack the virus infected cells. And so if the virus infects my cell, now the cell that is infected can be recognized more quickly before this one lyses and releases more virus to infect more cells. This is how you can actually remain disease-free. How do you remain disease-free? Well, you never allow whatever is coming within you, which normally for most people, if we're not talking about food-related diseases, those are under your control, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, arthritis, etc., those are animal-based food-related diseases. Those are under your control. But if we're talking about seasonal stuff, a bacterial infection, a viral infection, those are actually under your control, depending on how well you keep the natural flora. Another thing is that people don't often think about is the antibiotic effect of over-the-counter meds. There's I don't want to say an addiction, because anti-inflammatory drugs are not necessarily, they're not really addictive, but there is this overuse of anti-inflammatories. It's one of like Advil, the ibuprofen type of drug, is a drug that is oversold, and the market for it is humongous, and people are taking something that you don't need to take. I don't get headaches. I don't take that type of anything, really, no medication like that on a day-to-day basis. I had shoulder surgery. I didn't take anything. So there is this need, this thought that there is something outside of me that I can take to resolve something within me. Let me tell you right now, and I did a post on this on social media, on the Hacker Secrets on Instagram. There isn't a single medication that does not seek to mimic something that already exists within you. Meaning that every single medication that you want, you already produce. You can learn how to produce things at the right level so that you're happy all the time, you're peaceful all the time, you're healthy all the time, etc., etc., etc. So oftentimes by us taking things, over-the-counter meds, painkillers, anti-inflammatories, these actually damage our natural protective organisms. They don't do well when you put foreign substances. If I'm taking drinks with foreign chemicals that you read the label and you're like, I don't know what that is. If you can't recognize what it is, don't drink it. It shouldn't be in your body. You should be consuming things, again, raw, whole, natural, plant-based foods, exactly like Mother Nature offers them to you. The moment you start to alter them, cooking them, breaking them down, oxidizing them, causing them to react with oxygen, I blend it, let's say, and now it reacts with oxygen, I'm slowly changing that food into something else, a different type of chemistry that does not react well with my own chemistry. Do I need to go here? Why do I have a section on master stress? How to turn stress into flow. How can you be in flow all the time? It's a beautiful thing. And if not all the time, more often than not. How can you be joyful and feeling bountiful and healthy and vibrant like a child that doesn't worry about some of the things that we worry about? I teach that, how to do this. The Art of Stress Relieving, again, is the core manual for this. But in the Hacker Secret Masterminds, I go in depth into what's in the Art of Stress Relieving and more that I then discuss in the Hacker Secrets book. Like, for example, how to control brainwave activity to turn stress into flow. All right, hand sanitizer. So this is a big one. You take hand sanitizer and you put it on your hands, and let's say I touch something that had the virus on it. What am I doing with hand sanitizer? Hand sanitizers that, let me tell you right now, don't always kill the virus. Why does it say 99.9% of the things? Because it doesn't kill everything, and it may not do anything to coronavirus. So something that may, wait, my dog is messing around with the with the stand. So if I have a virus in my hand, I just put a little sanitizer, I go like this, oh, I killed it. No, actually, I just moved the virus around in my hand, and yet it's still in my hands. This is why health experts have been recommending wash with water. You don't even need soap. Soap doesn't kill viruses. All it does is remove natural oils in your hand, and therefore you're drying your hands, making them less of an environment, suitable environment for the things that want the natural oils. Water and friction. Rub them until you start to feel heat generated. The water will flush that away from your hands. And of course, hand sanitizers, you don't put hand sanitizer inside your digestive tract, but it's affecting the microbiome on your skin. We're talking about how to protect that microbiome that forms the front line. Again, 90%, once something gets inside of you, let's say into your bloodstream, let's say the HIV virus, then that's a different story. Now the microbiome isn't defending me from that because it's already within my body. Now my immune system is trying to do something to attack it, let's say. But HIV obviously is a very different virus that's a lot more difficult manage. And house cleaning products or chemical shampoos, certain products that you have in your house, move to natural products. And if you are interested in knowing more about what products I use, hit me a comment below and I'll share some of that. Again, it goes to eco wellness. And so it's not just about helping the environment, it's also about helping you. Some of the products that we come into contact damage our own initial frontline defense. Refined sugar and gluten. Not only is gluten an inflammatory food at the heart of some of this metabolic inflammation, but it also damages your natural flora within your digestive system. Refined sugars, we're consuming way enormous amounts of this in breads and things of that nature. So you want to be mindful of, again, consuming. If you were to consume whole gluten from a plant source, fine, but when we start to take that out, refine it, and dump it in large amounts to boost the protein content or as a binding agent in foods, then there's a problem, because that's not natural. Our body is not used to seeing that, and it causes a number of reactions that affect the integrity of the lining of your digestive system. We talked about meats and animal products, again, damaging. Again, I would, if I were you, at the bare minimum, have majority of my diet be plant-based. If you do not want to go vegetarian or vegan, I would suggest vegan to be completely, holistically taking care of your health from a diet standpoint. I would do that, but if not, 50 to 75%. How do you do this? Every time that you sit down and eat, at least half of what you eat is raw, whole plant-based foods. Salad, fruits, etc. Raw nuts. You can have sprouted seeds or nuts and beans and stuff like that. Make it so that half of what you eat is the stuff that you know is helping you. So that if you do eat something that's not so good, well, you have something that will at least offset some of the negative effect. But if you want to be primed so that if you get inoculated with the virus, you can fight it off, and at the bare minimum, you are going to resist it better and thereby get sick for a short amount of time and make it out at the end like the majority of the people have. At least 96% of the United States is about 98.5% of the people, according to the current figures. Then if you want to be one of those, you need to be strong. You need to have your frontline defense ready to go. All right, alcohol. Some people, they're at home. Let's have a little party, have a good get together. Let's be here in the house and let's start drinking. That overdoing that is going to harm your digestive tract and your microorganisms. So it's going to strip away some of this natural defense. And lastly, food additives. Again, eat natural. Don't eat foods that have things that you can't spell or that have red number whatever, or things added to it that should not be things that are going into your body. Think about where we came from. What were our ancestors eating? They weren't eating all these packaged foods. And so these packaged foods have a consequence to your health long term. Stop sacrificing your long-term health over things that you don't need. Okay? So be in tune for video number part 2 of how to prevent coronavirus. I'll be going into details on other topics. I think the next one is going to be on certain supplements for youth and wellness, anti-aging supplements, what vitamin C supplement, but most people don't know they're taking vitamin C supplements that are mostly eliminated rather than absorbed. I'll be sharing which one I take and why. Okay? All right. I hope that served you well. My name is Ram. Take care. Namaste.